Pump it now. Come on. Another Pete Rock remix. Check
Yo, welcome back to GYGB. It's your boy Docs, my man Big Mike, my man Trainer Dominus, and my man Sleep. Let me sleep.
I thought they labeled me Nostradamus, man.
I kind of led the charge with the margarita.
They not
I nailed 2 home runs.
Yeah.
The Kodo
right
here
here
was a big.
Yeah, y'all see the shot? See the shot? How it's framed? Where Big Mike? Where we at? Big Mike, where we at?
We're the home of the world champion Philadelphia Phillies.
Let's go Phillies. You know, y'all can't say we don't got no chance.
My track record in 08 was unparalleled with picking fights. Not only the fight,
Actually
but
had
the
a war
round.
See, but
Now all of a sudden you're going out on limbs. I'm the limb master.
I started to go back to episode.
I started the limbs.
Yeah.
Go back to episode 2 when we first started this thing, and who started the trend for the limbs when I picked Angel Cotto at that time to beat Shane Mosley. You know what I'm saying?
That's episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah. Now we are the year-end awards. It
That's
was
right.
a very, very busy year this year in
doubt,
boxing.
no doubt.
Some surprises, some old faces,
Upsets of the year.
some new faces. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna run down the whole list. I know everybody's been waiting. Everybody's been waiting who Sleep got, who Big Mike got, who I got. Ride or Die couldn't be here, but he's gonna mail in his picks. And my man Train. Here it is, the category for Fight of the Year.
Fight of the Year is Manny Pacquiao, and that's for obvious reasons. I mean, you have a gentleman that moved up from super featherweight. He beat Juan Manuel Marquez, who was a resident pound-for-pounder. He moved up, beat David Diaz in spectacular fashion. He's never been knocked out before. And he moved up again and beat Oscar De La Hoya. And yes, dinosaurs do exist. We never thought that would happen.
Manny Pacquiao.
That's your pick.
That's my
That's
pick.
That's your winner.
You want to elaborate on why?
I think he had a stellar year. He was all the way down and what is it, 135, right?
130.
130. He was all the way down at 130 in March.
I weighed at one time.
Right?
Yeah.
Beat Marquez, came up to 140.
135.
I'm sorry, 135. And in the summertime, beat David Diaz, came all the way up to 147 and beat Oscar De La Hoya. Manny Pacquiao is Big Mike's Fighter of the Year.
Well, I got Manny Pacquiao. That's my pick too.
I wasn't too sure about picking Manny Pacquiao as Fighter of the Year. The only reason why, after talking with Freddie Roach, you can check the interview out on GuardYourGirlBoxing.com that we had exclusively with Freddie Roach. He said if this was the De La Hoya that couldn't pull the trigger, remember that became the infamous line, he can't pull the trigger anymore. Maybe they wouldn't take the fight, but, maybe that's him saving face and giving De La Hoya some love. So I'm going to totally disregard that Roach comment, and I still got Manny Pacquiao's Fight of the Year.
I picked Manny Pacquiao for the same reasons my brother picked him for, so let's move down to the next category.
All right. The next category is Fight of the Year.
My Fight of the Year, I'm going to throw a little twist into it, will be Casamayor and Michael Casitas. A fight of ebbs and flows, a classic tug-of-war, classic brawl, where, it's just a whole bunch of punches and nothing else, no science behind it whatsoever, but a great match nonetheless, very action-packed. You had Casamayor winning the beginning of the fight, Casitas controlling the middle, and towards the end, around the 10th round, ultimately, Casitas getting caught with a Floyd-like check hook that had him wrapped in the ropes.
Two fights can match the intensity and the skills that Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez staged back in March. That was like the third fight, a rubber match. You know what I'm saying? Like those dudes put on a crazy 12-round fight that was filled with knockdowns.
One dude.
No, they both did it.
No, the 12th round was all
Vasquez. For 12 rounds.
Oh, for 12 rounds. I got you.
That 4th round goes down in history, one of the best rounds ever in history. And you said the 12th round is that. Right. And the 12th round ain't done like the 4th round.
The way he dominated is what I said.
Okay, but
domination factor.
But that fight to me is right up there with the Castillo Corrales and the greatest wars we've had in a long time. So I don't know how everybody else feels. We're gonna move it, spread the love around.
I had USS Cunningham versus Tomas
Adamek.
I always get that last name. That was my Fight of the Year. I agree totally with Big Mike, and I'm biased simply because that was the most entertaining fight that I've ever attended in
in my lifetime. And then when I watched it after I DVR'd it, I was on the edge of my seat for 12 rounds once again. You know, the intensity of the arena itself, it was perpetuated very well on TV because being in there, we never sat down. We lost our voices. It was just out of control. Then when I watched it on TV, I got the same feeling. And it was just a throwback fight. And that's my fight for Fight of the Year. And by the way, I had it at the least a draw. That 11th round could have went either way. And it wasn't enough done to take Steve's title. But that's my Fight of the Year.
The two biggest stars out of all the stars that we just mentioned, out of all these fights that they just mentioned, finally lived up to what the fight was supposed to live up to. And that's Antonio Margarito versus Miguel Cotto. The moment, like I said, no disrespect to the other fights, the moment of that fight was much bigger than those other moments. It was a pay-per-view event, and y'all all know how pay-per-view events turnouts have been. It was a tale of two fights, as I mentioned in the Pound for Pound show. You have Miguel Cotto, the boxer, who everybody and their mother was picking to win the fight, except for a few GYG members and my dude Volley Boy out there. You know, and the fight went pretty much
not crip walking.
The fight went like how most of everybody, what everybody said. Miguel Cotto was outboxing Margarito. He was winning the fight, but at the same time he was losing the war. Margarito, y'all know what happened. He prevailed in the end, like I predicted. Angel, Uncle Angelista waving the towel off. To me, it was one of the greatest welterweight fights, probably since I don't know, Corte de La Hoya, I'll say. You know, so that's my Fight of the Year: Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito.
Glory, moving down the line is KO of the Year.
My KO of the year was Prescott over Amir Khan. Very entertaining fight for what it lasted. Kind of shocked that Amir Khan went out like that. Hopefully he'll rebound, but you know, he ran into someone that was, you know, way bigger, and you know, we knew his chin was kind of suspect, but he got caught this time, and that was a brutal knockout in my opinion.
The craziest knockout I've seen this year, and that was Edison Miranda against David Banks. We can share it.
No, it's all good.
He buckled that dude on the ropes. Yeah, shout out to David Banks. I'm glad that you made it out of that fight okay. You have your wits about you and all of that. But to me, that embodies what a knockout of the year should be.
My knockout of the year was, and forgive me as I'm messing the name up, was Vic Darchinian and Doctor's War.
Oh, Christian Maharis.
Oh,
he buckled my man.
That's
why you put him in a pound for pound. I don't even know who he fought. I know it was on Wednesday night fights.
Get your papers out.
Marengo fought Carlos Wilson. But as Doc said, I just know it was one of those classic using the torso inside hooks on the ropes. And
shout out to Coach Rodney.
All right, moving along.
All right, round of the year.
Round of the year. Round of the year. Here it is. We all been waiting for this. Round of the year to me is part of the epic trilogy we had between Marquez and Vasquez. Round 4. I mean, that round was filled with all the drama. He staggered Vasquez, and then he smelled blood. He went in for the kill, dropped him. As soon as that dude got up, he pounds on Rafael and had him almost out of there.
You just sold me. I think I'm gonna go with that.
You know, and then Marquez came back and was returning. But the reason I picked, I mean, it was a crazy round. It was drama. It was skill.
It was a moment.
You know, they played to the crowd. They lived up to the hype.
Right.
So that's my round of the year. And honorable mention is USS Cunningham and Tomaz Adamek. That's a close second. I mean, Steve was dominating that whole round, and you know, he got caught at the end. So
that was my round of the year.
And I think Big Mike gonna agree with me.
Yes.
So yeah. And
The round in the year, I would have to go with Holt versus Torres 2, round 1. You know, that fight was very good. While it lasted, it was a gunfight. You know, basically a lot of big punches being thrown. Ultimately, Torres being wrapped in those ropes at the end.
Category up on the plate is manager / promoter / company of the year. It can all be blended into. It could be a mashup of all of them. So we'll go down the line, see where my man sleep.
I'm gonna go with Steve Stout because Brian responded after getting his head busted by Puffy Combs without.
Man, this is tough because it was a coin flip between Golden Boy and Top Rank. But I'm gonna go with Top Rank. because all these big fights that we're talking about, well, this joint with Golden Boy, but you know, the Margaritos, the Cottos, the Kelly Pavies and Bernards, you know, that was, you know, through the Top Rank. You know, they did make some big things happen in 2008. We started off rocky for them, but boy, did they hit that thing strong with that Pacquiao win over De La Hoya.
I second that emotion, Top Rank. And the reason why I picked Top Rank as Promoter of the Year
Based on the senile business.
no, not based on
the sake of our enjoyment,
and you know what?
way.
Based on bringing the fights that fans want to see.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And you know what? Forget the
Destroying
business
your
of
company
it.
in the process.
Forget the business of it. Forget all of the economics, because that's what makes boxing bad. When people start thinking about, you can't put this fighter against this fighter because you don't want to ruin this fighter.
Just like when you learn the theory of music and it messes with your creative process.